Okay, this is a presentation by Rachel Taylor on our annual training plan and periodisation for task 2 of advanced sports coaching. Where you go, Rach?
Good morning. I'm just going to be explaining my annual training programme for an amateur hockey player. So to start off with just a brief introduction about periodisation. Bob had described it as a method by which training is divided into smaller, easy to manage segments that are typically referred to as phases of training. In other words, it's basically so that a coach and an athlete can set short and long-term goals so they know when to peak and when to rest. Okay. So, brief overview of my athlete. She's 19, she's a beginner up at Salisbury Ladies Hockey Club. Recently she's just been put into defence, just to start off with. Okay. So here's my plan. The competition season goes from October to May. It finishes at the very beginning of May, but I've left it to go to the end just because they keep training after that. I'll start off with general prep. That starts in July and August, just because with a beginner as well, they do generally start earlier before the season, so that they've got plenty of time to get them ready, so they do a lot of getting new people in. To start with, just be doing like general fitness, so all the aerobic and muscular endurance. The general fitness include running. That would be mostly at training, but the swimming and cycling would preferably be done outside, because obviously we can't do that at training. Yeah, and that will be encouraged. Muscle endurance, the circuits during training, that will just include fitness things such as burpees, sit-ups, press-ups, all sorts of general fitness, SAQ. And then the specific preparation, going towards the circuits, but this will be more drill-based, so it'll be with the stick, so they can get more of their technique. They'll also be doing drills for types of shots, so this will be on targets and like with a partner. They'll also be doing more footwork skills, that will include more SAQ and doing sort of 3v1s so they can get around their stick. We'll briefly cover dodging and dummies just so that they know, so that they're ready for competition, but they won't need to focus on that too much, so it will just be mainly using like reverse stick and being able to get around people. I've also put in there as well a tactical one, which is practicing smart passing. That's going to be more like being spatially aware and tactically aware, just knowing where everyone is, getting used to being able to switch across the pitch. Also, at the start, when competition starts in October, I've included everything, general prep, specific, pre-competition and competition, because whilst competition is happening, they'll still be training, so they'll be covering all the basics that they've already just covered, plus more. So in the pre-competition, there will be a little bit of mental preparation, but they won't need it as much, just because they're a beginner. That will basically just be game situations, so like a 10-minute game at the end of every training session. There could be some video analysis. I've put it in there just in case they do need a bit more work as they are a beginner. We're only just finding out their strengths and weaknesses. I've also put in some active rest. This is due to, I don't want the athlete to be too worked, like overloaded. The active rest will just be it will still be at training, but the training will just be a lot lower intensity, so they won't need to do as much. Honestly, they'll still be doing as much, but just not very hard. Yeah, and again, I've put in about out of training, keep doing like the swimming, jogging, cycling. In the competition, I've already explained they still train in alongside, but the intensity will go down again. And again, yeah, because they're a beginner, I'm basically focusing on just technical and fitness for the moment. So in the transition phase, I've just basically just keeping up general fitness, so maybe once, maybe twice a week, as long as they keep up with that one. Okay, so the physical aspects, as you can see down the bottom, there's a little key up there if you don't understand it. The straight line is the volume. So during general prep and specific, it is quite high. And the intensity is as well, but that does come down a little bit during competition just because they don't want to overload. So in general prep, this is out of training. So again, they're keeping up with their fitness. But within training, they'll be doing a lot more keeping up with the drills, fitness drills, suicide runs, 3v1, all of that. That's a lot of that's to do with getting game ready as well, like ready for the game, mentally prepared. Muscle endurance, yeah, same again, just circuits. This one's more based on technical, but in the physical aspects of this, they'll be doing types of shot but more at a pace, so they can get used to that before the competition starts. I'll explain that. Psychological. As you can see down here, there are basically no psychological at all in the general prep. It starts to creep up a little bit in specific prep, but this is only due to setting like sort of short-term goals, so that they know, like, as soon as they reach their goal, they're a bit more confident and ready for competition. Yeah. The psychological again, yeah, I've just put practicing. Oh, 2 seconds.
How's the move, Trent? How's the move?
Yeah.
Did it?
Yeah, it went to technical. Yeah, penalties. I put so the psychologists so get used to like pressure situations because they have to deal with that in games, especially in defence when they've got someone running at them. Yeah, and just make sure they debrief after every match as well during the competition stage. This should also so like the coach can give them some like good feedback and maybe some points they can work on. As long as they give them good though, because this will help with their confidence as well. I haven't put any psychological in the tapering transition phase either. They won't need that. They'll be fine for next year. Yeah, and the general prep, because I've already put in the macro cycle, I've put down that will be mostly physical, so they won't need as much technical, but I've put in some drills, so they'll be doing like 3-man weave, so that they can practice their reverse step, getting their feet around, all of that. Specific prep, this is where the technical really comes in. This is the highest bit for like intensity and volume. They'll be doing things such as flicks, hits, all types of shot, 16-yard hit outs, penalties. They'll also be doing a bit of, I know this is the technical stage, but I've actually put in a little bit of tactical there as well, just so that they know, like they're covering it all the time at the same time. Yes, they're basically the same as the one before. They're just recapping everything that's done previously. Okay, so in tactical, yeah, they'll be covering rules of the game in the first general prep. As they're a beginner, they don't really, like they've just started, they've never played hockey before, so they'll need to cover that. Learning like formations, learning like 4-3-4, all of that. Practicing keeping their sit down, that's a must. They'll need to do that for competition as well. Specific prep, yeah, I've just put in about defending because they are been put in defence, so I've been practicing all of that, knowing like centre, on the right, on the left wing, knowing like where to stand, you know, yeah, and their positioning. And also being able to switch, because in hockey, you know, it's because it's a massive pitch, they need to be able to get the ball out. In pre-competition, I've put in about practicing changing strategy during a game, because hockey can change quite quick, so you need to adapt to the other team. For example, if the opponents are really good at striking, they'll need to be on their game in defence, whereas if they're not as good at striking, they may be able to move up into they'll be able to move up into midfield a bit more. Yeah, same there. I've also put in a little psychological part in here because it is a little bit tactical. If you have eye contact with your player, or even ignoring them when they try and bite at you, or like keeping the pressure on, so marking every move, it can be quite psychological, like, and it's quite tactical because it can put the other player off. Yeah, and again, there's no, in the transition phase, there's no tactical. Just a quick summary. Alongside all the training, they need to be keeping an eye on their nutrition. So before training and matches, I want to put them on complex carbohydrates, so breads, pastas. This is because they're slow releasing. Half time, they could have like maybe a little bit of fruit or some energy drinks, jaffa cakes, jelly babies, just to keep them topped up. And after training, they need to just try and get as much protein as they can. This helps with muscle growth and repairing the muscles. I've just put in a little section here as well about stretching, just because flexibility is also another important part of hockey due to like the agility. Because at times like hockey is quite a high speed game, so they need to be able to change direction quite quick.